Hi, my name is Jasen Yoder. This is my process speech for speech class. I'm going to demonstrate on how to build a three-tiered heart-shaped table. The purpose of this speech is to provide knowledge on how easy it is to build a three-tiered heart-shaped type shelf. The first thing you do when this process is to go to Lowe's or Home Depot and pick your wood out. We've picked this piece of wood out. It's a bird's eye maple, and the one that's built is built out of pine. Once you pick out your wood, you want to look to make sure it don't have any knots, and to make sure the edges are as straight as possible. This board here is a really nice piece. It don't have hardly any knots in it, if any at all. Once you pick out your wood, you'll need to gather some basic tools: a jigsaw, a drill, a level, a few drill bits, and some jigsaw blades. It's not going to tear up your wood. These are 18 teeth per inch, and so they'll cut it really nicely. Other various hand tools I don't have here. So some screws will help. Some sandpaper, and of course a tape measure. But the first things that you're going to need to do is I made a template. Here's a template of the leg for the table, and then here's a heart. It's probably not the one we use, but here's a heart that will trace out and cut this pattern out. Once you get done cutting your templates out, you put them on your wood and trace them out with a black magic marker. Your templates are the shape that your table's going to be in. So when you trace it out on there, do it carefully so that it doesn't move around on you. Maybe tape it down with some tape or something. All right, and then once you trace everything out on your wood, take your jigsaw and cut it out, and leaving just a little fine line of the line. If you use black magic marker, just leave a little bit of the line there, and that way, if your jigsaw gets off a little bit, you can sand it down to the line that you want. The same thing with the heart. You put your heart up there and trace it out, cut it out, and then sand it down to your line. Once you get that done, you're going to sand all your edges down real smooth with like a heavy grit sandpaper, and then go back with a real fine sandpaper to make it real nice and smooth. Once you get it cut out, you want to take a small drill bit and figure out where you want your shelves, and then drill pilot holes for your screws. And then once you get your pilot holes drilled, then you'll come back with a bigger drill bit and countersink them in a little bit just to hide the head, so you can cover them with wood putty so you don't see the head of it. And a small amount of glue can go in each joint, and that'll help keep the table real nice and sturdy. Gorilla Glue works really good. That's what I like to use. Let's see. Then when you assemble your table, you use a level and check it. Make sure each shelf is level. You don't want it to be on level, and that way that way your shelves are straight, nothing leans and falls over on them. Once you got your table together, you're going to fill your holes, your screw holes, with a little bit of wood putty. You want to make sure that your wood putty is stainable and paintable. Once it's sanded, once you fill your wood holes, you're going to sand your let it dry, and you'll sand it down smooth with a heavier grit, and then come back with a fine grit. Go over the whole table with like maybe a 220 grit sandpaper. Then then you're going to take like a tack cloth you pick up at Home Depot or Lowe's, wipe the table down, and that'll get off all the fine dust particles and things like that off the table. Then you're going to pick it, whether you stain it or paint it. I like to stain them. First, you can use a rag and rub stain on there, rub in the direction of the wood, and then wipe it off 5 or 10 minutes after. Let it sit there for 5 or 10 minutes. Take a dry rag and wipe it off. You can go back over a couple times with it if you want it. If you want it to get darker, let it dry for about 24 hours, and you put a polyurethane on it and put it on. The polyurethane goes on in real small, thin coats, and that way it don't run, or it doesn't take a long time to dry. And you can put it on 2 or 3 coats at a time. Once you're done with that, the project's going to be complete, and it'll be ready to put in your living room or wherever you want it. This project here is really easy to do. If you just take your time at it, it's going to look as nice as you want it to. But what I like to do is I'll start another project in between while this one's drying or whatever, the wood putty's drying, and that's how you build a 3-tier heart-shaped table.